Welcome to World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss, the podcast for busy professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners who want to travel smarter, save money, and plan unforgettable trips without the stress. I'm Ross, your host and the founder of Itinerary Boss. I spent a decade building a career in healthcare, software, and medical device sales while planning both personal and business trips across more than 20 countries. Whether it was group getaways with friends, couples trips, or just mapping out business territories, I became the go-to person for saving money on flights, organizing those logistics, and using points to elevate the experience. Now, as an entrepreneur and business owner, I help others do the same by showing you how to travel better using points, smart planning, and those proven strategies. Each week, we bring you expert guests, step-by-step tutorials on points and miles, and real-world itineraries that we've used to help you plan with confidence. Whether it's using points to travel better, exploring a new destination, or just learning how to maximize your spending, we've got you covered. Before we dive in, go ahead and grab one of our free tools in the show notes. One, the points and miles cheat sheet that'll help you get started earning and redeeming points to save thousands on travel, or the stress-free travel toolkit that includes a budget guide, packing checklist, and planning tips to save you time and hassle. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or busy professional looking to choose your next credit card or get help maximizing your everyday spending for rewards and booking free travel, book a free one-on-one consultation. You can find the link within the show notes or head over to itineraryboss.com. And if this episode helps you, please share it with a friend or family member, follow the show, and leave a 5-star review. It's the best way that helps us grow. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy. For this week's episode, I'm excited to have on Leslie Douglas. She is the VP of sales at Sell Better and also is a host of a podcast. So obviously she's going to crush it this week. And she also has her own consulting business where she's going to get into and share. But I think what's even better and why this is a full circle moment is she was my first sales trainer at my first sales company. And that's where I learned all my magic. So really excited to have her on. Hey, Leslie, how are you doing today?
Ross, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited, especially because of that connection and just seeing how you have grown and evolved in your sales career. It's like so cool to have these big moments where you're doing incredible things. So, yes, excited to be here.
Yeah, we're just trying. I think we've come a long way from sitting in that training room where, we were seeing who could make the most calls. I think it was like 120, 130, and that was just a fun time.
You always won. We affectionately called that room the fishbowl.
What's funny is we're getting a little off topic. We'll get into it here, but my dad gave my recent as we were getting married speech, and he was like, when you came home from your first sales job, I asked how it went, and I said, yeah, this guy hung up on me, and he asked, well, what did you do next? I said, I called him right back and told him that your phone got disconnected, and he said, that's when I knew it was all going to work out, and you were going to have a good time doing this type of career.
You just got to have fun, right?
Exactly, exactly. Well, that's why we're here, but I don't want to sell you short. So would love to hear a little bit more just about your background at Sell Better as well as what you got going on the consulting side.
Thank you. I run all of our sponsorships at Sell Better and I get to host our daily sales show. There's a handful of us who host it. So we have thousands of salespeople tune in every day to learn about sales and its tactical training. And then on the other side of the house, I do team consulting and training. Um, been able to, I mean, when we are getting to the connection to travel, I've been able to train reps in 19 different countries and help over 80 brands work on sales and building pipeline and sounding human and not like robots. And so I'm on the road like 30 to 40% of the time. I would say I joke that TSA probably knows my Starbucks order. Um, but I, uh, my passion is just about helping people to find their voice, what sounds right, what fits them, what feels good. Because if we're able to communicate in a way that's authentic, then we have more fun at our jobs. And I think the people on the other side of the phone can feel that connection too. And they're more likely to trust you and potentially buy something if there's a good fit.
Yeah, no, well said. And I know that's why I wanted to bring you on because I mean, just for the past couple years as I've gotten, we've gone our separate ways just from, the businesses, that we were in. We weren't at the same company, but just seeing, you on LinkedIn, seeing all the great content you all are putting out. Like when I was in my recent role prior to coming into this full time, like I just learned so much from you, the team, the different people, right, who have now started some of their own companies, just everything that they do, whether it's about LinkedIn, whether it's about sales, and just putting those things into practice, whether it's, you're selling enterprise, software, whether you're just having normal conversations, and seeing all the travel you all do, and then just, the support you've given me as I've gone into this. Then just thinking, oh, hey, like you travel a lot and also you're a mom and and I get all these questions because I have a lot of friends who are now having kids. So that's why I wanted to bring you on because there's a lot of strategies, that I always share from my years as a sales rep and being a road warrior and like the different tactics of using credit cards and points, but want to get some of your
Mhm.
best practices. So would love just to understand a little bit more about, what are some just habits that you've put into place that have really set you up for success, as a sales leader, but also as a mom?
In general or travel focused?
Travel focused.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kidding. I think that when it comes to travel, especially as a mom, um, or a parent in general, I think that people have they bring their own stuff to the table, right? Their own experiences and what they've lived. And so I get a lot of people who are always like, isn't it so hard? And yes, it's hard. But also, I personally take energy from travel. I take energy from standing on stages. I take energy from helping people. And I also take energy from being here for my daughter and reading bedtime stories and doing homework with her and just spending time with her, right? So I tried to design my life to make both things possible. And a big piece of that was setting her up for routines as well as myself. So, a couple of those things that for me, when I'm traveling, especially thinking about it as a parent, I have in her hallway of her room, there's a clock with the current time, but there's a second clock there. And I just have like a whiteboard above it. And so I put wherever I'm traveling to, and we'll set the clock together to what time it's going to be. She doesn't have to ask anyone. She doesn't have to think about the math. Like she does the math when we set the clock. So there's a learning moment. Calm down, everybody. But it's cool that she gets to be a part of it. She gets to check like what time is it where I am. We also we have a Spotify playlist called My Daughter is Bree.
Hey, I
Bree
wanted to take a quick break to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. The only way the show grows is through listeners like you helping us share it. So if you're enjoying the show, it'd mean the world to me if you hit that 5-star rating, shared it with a friend or family member who's ready to travel more, save money, or just needs a little bit more inspiration and that nudge. And if you're posting about it on Instagram, go ahead and tag Itinerary Boss, and we'll make sure to reshare it and shout you out for giving us a shout out. Thanks so much for the support. It truly means a lot. And now back with the show.
Bree and Mom's international dance party. And I made a QR code, put it in the same hallway so she can scan that with her iPad or, ask the robots to play Bree and Mom's international dance party so we can listen to the same music no matter where we are. And she'll add songs and I'll add songs. Like, I think it's just about the involvement in the routine. Like, I'm going to keep my bedtime routine no matter what. I'm going to keep all of these things no matter what. Like there's some non-negotiables for me, but making sure that she still has her routine, she's set up for success and she feels comfortable helps make me feel comfortable and also sets me up for success, especially if you have to go work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. And I think that's the biggest, I guess, challenge I see is a lot of times people are just like, yeah, I just get out of my routine. It's and a lot of times it's, oh, well, and I hear this all the time, well, wait till you have kids, you won't travel, or wait till this. And it's just like, if you set yourself up for success by having the right habits put in place, it's simple, like eating a good breakfast, like going on a walk, like, getting exercise, just like, put those in place. And I love those non-negotiables. Those are some very creative ones that I have not heard. So that's pretty cool. I feel like you have like the three different clocks on your walls where it's like Bangkok to,
Right.
New York
Exactly.
and
That's
and
where I
you,
got it from. I was
yeah.
like, I want that. I think about that. I mean, selling to different time zones, like we think about doing the math all the time in our head. Like, how can we make it easy for our kids with that? Also, like you said, people say when you have kids, you're not going to travel. I think like we prioritize our kids' sleep. They have a routine. Everyone's like so most people are so strict about like bedtime, nap time, that, whatever it is, whatever stage of kids you have. And I'm like, why don't we prioritize our own sleep that way? I always travel with like a little mini sound machine because no matter where I am, you could be in New York with horns and sirens and nonstop noise, and you got your sound machine, and it's like, I'm asleep now.
And you'll laugh at this. Yeah, we got but it's so true, right? Especially when you're on the road. It's like if you get stuck. I remember when I used to travel, you get maybe your one of your first hotels, you get stuck next to a highway and you're just
Yeah.
like, great. And then you're waking up to 18 wheelers. But yeah, I mean, we got one probably a year ago and it's a game changer because we realized when we first moved in that for some reason there were roosters in the backyard of around uptown Charlotte.
Oh no.
So, but
It really is magical.
yeah, but it's a game changer. Now I don't even hear them. So it's so true, and it's just like thinking through what are some different strategies that you can put into place to set yourself up for success. Are there any other like strategies or just hacks that you've got just accumulated over the years that
So
others are
many.
like, that's amazing.
So many. I think like my travel in general, I think um I'm very organized in terms of what I bring. So I used to be a chronic overpacker. I started making, this is like maybe a little intense for some people, but in my notes app on my phone or like photo albums on my phone, I'll put together outfits and take pictures, everything, shoes, accessories, the full outfit. And then I plan my calendar for a trip from those photos so that I can see everything I need and now I don't overpack. Like that's been really helpful for me because then I have room to bring things home. Or, I'm a carry-on only kind of a girl, so we got to be streamlined. Hydration is also something like I don't mess around with daily, but especially if you're traveling, it's like you got to pretend like you're about to get stranded on a desert island, pack electrolytes in every zipper you have, and hydrate like it's your job like a week before and the entire trip. And then movement is big. Like I feel like if you're in work trips, on personal trips, like that's really easy for me. I'm gonna go see as much as I can in the hours I'm given, and I'm gonna walk 8 times as much if I'm on a personal trip. But for work, like even if I am just getting laps around the airport until my plane boards, like I really try to prioritize like movement in some way because I'll lock in and I'll get, I know I'm going to be on that laptop. I know I'm going to be in a room. I know I'm going to be, tired or whatever it's going to look like, jet lagged. So whenever I can get those steps, like that movement, you're going to see, I'm not sitting at the gate. We're circling.
I love that. Well, hey, when you have a carry-on too, it makes it a lot easier.
So much fun.
I'm definitely a carry on only as well. I mean, a guy, it's a little bit easier, but
Yeah.
yeah, my wife is now we are now just team carry on where no matter how long we're going somewhere, it's just like, but you realize too, even as a guy, like if I'm packing a couple, like I'm a lot easier to pack, but if sometimes I'm like, wow, I went and I had to force myself to wear that pair of pants or shorts. So now it's
Right.
just like, what's really simple? And especially when you're going on work trips too, it's just like, okay, how do I make this as simple as possible? Hydration, definitely key. Like when you go, something I do is just always make sure I just bring an empty water bottle because you could get up on a flight and they could filling it up and they could say, "Oh, sorry, we're hitting turbulence. You're not getting water for the next 2 hours." You're sitting
Hmm.
there with complete, you're like, "I really need water." But yeah, hydration packs. That's key. We like relight, and we had a little stumble where on our honeymoon we they didn't get shipped here in time, and yeah, in Thailand it was definitely a little bit hot, so that
Yeah.
came back to bite us. But yeah, and walking around, I mean that's huge. I think especially if you're going on a long flight or you're just sitting in a
Yes.
conference room all day. It's like, but it's kind of funny because, earlier in your career, a lot of times you don't prioritize those things. But as you start to do it more, you're like, wow, I really sat a long time or I didn't hydrate. And now, it's coming back to bite me. So no, those are simple tips, but it also just comes back to habits. If you put those into place, it's like, those are 4 or 5 things that you do every time. It's not like it's just you're putting those into place. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I will say the only time I check something, I have this really cool packable duffel bag that folds down tiny. I stick that in my bag always just in case. And I use it when I come home international because I will put all my dirty clothes in that and check it, and I don't care when it gets to me.
Yeah.
And then I put all of the things that I bring home with me, or like anything that's more sentimental or anything that, I really want to make sure it stays with me or gets home. Like maybe it's skincare routine or whatever that is. Like valuables will stay in my carry-on, and I just stick all my dirty clothes in the duffel and send it on its way. And if it arrives today, cool. If it arrives in 3 weeks, cool.
That's actually really smart. I haven't thought of that. I
Oh, packable duffel for the win. Especially if you're going like that's like more family trips for me. Like if I'm taking my daughter, listen, she saves up her money for when we go places so that she can just go ham on any souvenirs she wants.
yeah, no, but I like that. Something that my wife read about was each time someone goes places, they bring home something that they use as whether that's wall art, whether that's, just something for the house that's sentimental.
Mhm.
I did that as a 20-year-old guy, but I was kind of doing like the dirtbag style where I was getting coffee mugs and, different fridge magnets. And when she moved in, she was like, yeah, that's a little tacky. Sorry, we gotta upgrade to getting nice.
Elevated status.
Yeah.
Ours is Christmas ornaments. So we always are looking for Christmas ornaments, which actually turns into like a fun game if she's
hmm
there, because sometimes they don't have any. So then it's like, what could be a Christmas ornament? And it becomes like a cool thing for us to play the whole trip. And then I always look for vintage art. So I'll hit up like a flea market if there's one around. Like I got some really cool vintage postcards when I was in Austria last year, just like the art, the home decor. When I was in Portugal, there was a artist down the street doing pottery. So I got a set to put on my dining table. So I want things that I can look at every day that remind me of all the places that I've been and all the little things that I've picked up and learned. So I'm all about that too. But those are things that I'm going to safeguard. That's not going under the plane with checked luggage. I'm going to like hold it
hmm
in
Yeah.
my arms the whole flight.
Yeah, no, that's smart, but I like the fact that yeah, you're bringing that extra duffel in your suitcase that then you can ship back.
Just
Very
in
cool.
case.
Yeah, it's smart. Is there anything else just that you're always bringing with you, whether that's gear, if it's like for work travel and even like personal travel? I think breaking up the two because those are probably going to be a little bit different, but anything that you've just learned over the years that you like to bring?
Okay, this might be niche, but if you're listening to this podcast, you probably travel a bit, maybe. I have a whole, like, I have a small dresser that is my travel dresser. So I have like my typical stuff and can restock from specific things. But like my kind of go-to, no matter what kind of travel it is, my tiny noise machine is a must always. It's like if that thing's not charging, then you should be worried about me. An extension cord, and I'm going to give you two reasons, like a power strip with like multiple ports. The first thing is the plugs in a hotel are always going to be in a weird spot, or there's like not going to be enough of them, or one's not going to work, or it's going to be attached to a light switch. So, like, always having options in terms of charging all of the devices, especially if you're on a work trip. The second thing is I have made so many friends in airports because I have an extension cord and there's no other plugs, and they come over and ask to use it, and it's like an instant conversation starter. So that's a big one for me. I put that in my bag. I mean, I take it everywhere I go.
Sales
If
tactic
I'm
right there. I
right.
feel like that's free leads.
Yeah, it is. We can find a connection for everything.
Yeah.
I'll take it to Starbucks. I'll take it to, like I'm taking it everywhere. I always have like a tiny pharmacy. And again, it's like it's for me, it's for my family, but then it's also a good connection point. Like again, I've met so many people who are like, "Do you have Tylenol?" Sure do. Hold on. So I have this little tiny pharmacy that I stock. And then I will say, I'm going to give you like a weird one. Coconut oil. They have TSA approved packets of coconut oil. I I'll remember the brand as soon as we stop talking because it's like my favorite one. But I feel like this is the Swiss Army knife of travel products. If you forget your toothpaste, coconut oil. If you need moisturizer, coconut oil. If you get a sunburn, coconut oil. If you get a cut, it's an antibacterial treatment. I mean, like you got to type it into Google. There's like 87 billion uses for coconut oil. And like having it has always proven beneficial to me. So it's just like kind of my Swiss Army knife. I throw it in there because it will handle a whole bunch of different situations. And honestly, like my notes app, I'm not only like organizing things there, I do have a lot of my routines built into my phone because I am a very visual person. I plan my outfits, like I said, I know that's a little extra, but like, especially if I'm speaking or if I'm at a conference, like everything's planned out. I don't have to think about it. We are all consumed with so many decisions. We have to make so many decisions in every single moment. And the more things that I can have done for me in advance, I feel like the easier. And then I can also like take my own notes on there. So I'm like, what am I learning? My friend Emily is a phenomenal traveler, and she always invites me. Every time I go somewhere, she'll text me and she'll be like, listen to what the location is teaching you. And I think it's so cool because I pick up on something in every little spot and I have it all gathered in one note to kind of go back and revisit and remind me. And so I'm always like leaving myself voice notes or thinking of magical things on my travels. So notes app for the win.
That's cool. Yeah, you have like a mini journal so you don't have to pack another journal and then write it down. It's kind of like when you're on the go too. A lot of times you're not like, "Oh, let me take this out." It's more like, "Oh, this is cool. Let me write this down. Let me
Yeah.
look into the
And
phone."
it's searchable.
Hmm. That's cool. No, I
Yeah.
I like that a lot. The coconut oil is that's one that I wasn't aware of, and I think that's a
Wild.
it's I'm gonna have to share that tip and trick and maybe dive into it more
You got
myself.
to do a little Googling because it's like it blows my mind. It's like did you ever see that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Hmm.
And they put Windex on everything. That's
Yeah,
like this is my Windex is
that's
coconut oil.
hilarious. That is too funny. I want to transition into points and credit cards because that's a lot of our audience is business owners, sales reps, right? Obviously, that's our background. Being traveling a lot. I don't travel as much anymore, at least for work. For
Hmm.
business, for fun, we do still. But just being a sales rep, right? I got to learn the different hotel programs, airlines, right? What were some of the myths? Sometimes, you don't even when you when you stop traveling as much and work from home, like that's what made me dive deeper into, okay, how do I maximize my credit card points and miles,
Yeah.
versus like, dang, I got to get on, 75 flights this year to hit status.
Hmm.
But I think the one nice thing is too, when you're a sales rep, sometimes you get the luxury of accumulating those points, whether it's hotel points, airline points, or whether it's just you get to use your card to pay for stuff. And I luckily got to do that for a couple of years. Whenever we go personal travel, I've booked everything because I'm like, cool, yeah, I'm gonna get a couple thousand points for booking this, getting groceries, getting, all the dinners. So would love just to kind of get your thoughts just from a company perspective, right? are there strategies that you've used in the past, as well as, personal strategies that have really worked for you to accumulate those?
Oh yeah. Um, I think about points like you're playing Monopoly. It's like it feels kind of elusive and therefore I feel like it's complicated on purpose, which is why you need people like Ross in your life who like, especially business owners, salespeople, like this is not you can't be great at everything, even though I try to, right? Like I'm thinking about leaning on people who know more. I go check, like I will say the faster you can get into loyalty with airlines, hotels, do it. I waited far too long on that. I let other people book my travel because I thought I was being like easy to work with. And now I'm like, no, no, I'm a Delta girly and I'm a Marriott girly. And th for the most part, that works for me. And I think it's like, where do you live? Who has a hub at your airport? Who has the most direct flights or, nonstops? Whatever is most important for you can help guide and shape that. For me, I'm big on customer service. Like that really matters to me. The experience matters to me. And also like the flight options. But allegiance ASAP. That's like number one. You mentioned it, but like every single reimbursable work expense put on your own cards, whether it's travel, whether it's you're taking the team to lunch, whether it's a client dinner and someone's got to pick up the tab and they're going to reimburse whoever that is anyway, make it you. You're that person, raise your hand immediately, give your card to the waitress in advance,
That's what I was
like
gonna say.
we are getting those points because you're going to get reimbursed. I will say, like, come up with a really good system for yourself now. I did spend a good chunk of my early career. I was in field sales and I had a really hard time organizing and submitting my expenses. Now, you won't catch me leaving that table until I have a picture of the receipt. And if you're a business owner and you're doing this, I think about a few different things. Like, first off, like tax write-offs, you can, there's like so many different areas there. And then anything that is recurring payments, if you can put it on a credit card, do it. You're going to pay it off with the money anyways, the same way you would in your personal life. But if you can buy inventory, if you have rent that you can pay for space and you can do that on a credit card, do it. If, like anything you can do to get dollar points, that has actually taken me a lot further. Actually, can I tell you a really fast, crazy story?
Yes, please. That's the stuff I want to hear.
Okay. This guy's probably crying somewhere, but I was looking to purchase a car and it was 2020. And so car and inventory was insane. But I was leasing. So I sold my lease and they handed me a bunch of cash. And when I went to buy my new car, I was like, I could either give them cash as a down payment, but the finance guy in the finance department was relatively new. We're having a chat. And I was like, do you think I can use my American Express for this? For like a $10,000 down payment.
Let's go.
And he
I
was
love
like, yeah, sure. I guarantee they're not supposed to do that because they're getting like a huge fee on that, right?
Oh
But he
yeah.
was like, yeah, we take American Express. And I was like, great. So I put my down payment on my Amex and I mean, like immediate status, it got me all of the points I needed. It doesn't even matter about flight segments at that point. It's like,
That's
whatever. But if
wow.
you can do that at scale with a business, do it at scale. Like, especially business owners, if you have product or a service based is different, but if you have like a storefront, if you have a retail business, there's so much that you can do on points that then you can use those for yourself, your own personal travel. Like my daughter, she's just ruined for life because like I get upgraded. Even if I'm not buying a ticket, like I'm going to get upgraded because of status on all these things, which is why you pick an airline, right? So she's always like, when she was little, she called it first place. And
That's
she's like, Mom, are we gonna fly in first place this time?
That's too funny.
Yeah.
But you're giving her, I think the biggest thing is you're giving her those memories and experiences where now she's gonna prioritize a lot of those things. And I mean, travel's huge. I think that, it just you can relate to so many different people. Like it's kind of funny. We were this past weekend, we were in Vegas and I'll I'll leave the other some of the stuff out, but
Yeah,
but
it
but
has to, right?
but we were just like it was 20 people. It was some people we hadn't met, some people we had. The conversation was a little stiff in the pool, and all of a sudden we started talking about travel, and like the
Mm,
guys who weren't as open, like were just boom, 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 just started talking more and more, and it was just very cool because everyone lights up when they talk about that type of stuff, and then when you start to say, "Oh yeah," and also you can almost do it for free by using points, then everyone's like, "Oh, this is like Monopoly," like you said. So
yeah.
it's just having a strategy, and that's I always, for salespeople, it is. It's like, luckily, when I first started, I was like, okay, I'm just going to be a part of Marriott and Hilton and, right, thinking about the hubs that you're in. And then since I was flying out of different ones, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get them for different ones. But then you start to get status for different airlines and hotels, which then, you can start to use and you start to learn, okay, what makes the most sense. But yeah, as a business owner, it's like, where are you spending your money? What are you spending it on? And how do you maximize your points? And everyone's going to be different. If you're traveling a lot, you're going to focus on travel. But if you're doing ad spend, you're going to want to focus on that. And it's just that I think is a big challenge that I see is just, it isn't supposed to be super easy. And like, it's
Right.
long time to learn it. But once you learn it, it's like if you can prioritize that, especially as a sales rep, and especially as a business owner, it's like you're then turning that into paid for travel personally. So why not leverage it? And you're allowed to.
Yeah. Especially as an employee. If you are not a business owner, you're an employee. Now we're talking about this being the difference in covering majority of a vacation every year for you. If you can get hotel and airline covered for you and your plus one or your kids or whoever that is, like that's a huge savings.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
mean,
can do way cooler stuff. You can spend more money on other things, like
well,
extend that Disney trip.
that's the best part is, I mean, you don't feel bad because one of our favorite things to do, and when you go places, as you start to travel more, it's immersing yourself in the culture. It's
Hmm.
right, like going to like balling out on food, doing the amazing experiences, and when you get there for nearly free and you're staying for nearly free, you're like, well, we haven't really spent much money. Let's do these really cool things. And it just kind of elevates that experience. And I think that's the beautiful part is once that's covered, is then you're like, okay, well, and it just starts to snowball like sales. Then you're like, okay, well, we
Yes.
used to take one vacation. Now we can actually afford to take a couple because we're really just spending money on food that we probably would have spent on money on food
At
at home
home.
when we were grocery shopping. So
Right.
it's those little minor shifts a lot of the times, and that's literally how you travel for almost free.
I have a couple other things that I do that I think are like magic. I have a high yield savings account, which some high yield savings right now have like crazy percentages. I'm always looking on like NerdWallet or, whoever you're looking at for like percentages on high yield savings accounts, way better than your traditional savings account. And I take money out of every paycheck and have it automatically put into my high yield. And I have multiple high yields. One is for Christmas presents, one's for travel, one's for emergencies. And I just automate that already so that it's earning interest there. And then I'm using that money for the fun travel stuff. And it feels like I've already budgeted for that. I've already saved that. And again, like if I can get everything covered on points, I'm going to be able to have the cool experiences that I really want to. I always tell Bree, like, if we're going, we're going to make it magic. So I want to make sure that I'm setting myself up for that. And I think it's all about prioritizing what matters to you. I like the good food. I'm
Hmm.
I'm going to go for the good food. It's going to happen. So just like figuring out what that is. And then the other thing that like I felt like it was illegal at first, especially as an employee, but expenses are part of the job and the company knows that and the company is earning elsewhere. it's like a double dip and it's beneficial for everyone. And if expenses are already part of the job, you might as well get rewarded for them. So all of those things, like I think about all of the overnight red eyes, all of the 6 a.m. flights for business trips. And like if I can get a surprise vacation out of it, like that makes it worth it. That's cool. It's like an added kind of pep in your step on the trips that aren't as fun.
No, I
In my
agree.
opinion.
I think a lot of times when people first start in jobs, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to." They think it might be taking advantage, but it's like, no, it's you're literally if you're going and you're having to travel and you might be missing, right? You might be having to take a red eye, or you might have to come home a day later, and you're doing a lot of that stuff. Take advantage of the miles, points, right? The hotel loyalty that you can get. And then also, if you can maximize those and start to get three, four times, and then, like you said, take pretty much a free vacation out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then it's like, okay, then when you are doing that and it is tough, you're like, okay, I am working towards something. And that's a great way to think about it. I love the high yield savings account too. Like that's just
Mm.
always, I mean, I think it's simple because you're saving up to then say, okay, this is earning me, depending on where it's at, but it could be earning 4 or 5%. And if I'm taking that out in a year, great. I need that money in a year. I mean, it's all about just, like you said earlier, which I like, and it's just like keep it simple. Like if you're having to make all these decisions, don't make it where you're having to, oh, I got to put this money here and do this. That just adds another layer of complexity. Put it on auto, just auto. I mean, I do auto invest. I've done that since we've
Yeah.
met at Dude Solutions, was literally auto invest into every single paycheck. And again, it just starts to compound and it takes one less decision out of the equation, which if you're a sales rep or business owner, you got a lot of those going on. So that's
Yeah.
one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, lifing in general, there's already so many. And then you just like keep adding complexities and throw kids in the mix. And then you're making somebody else's decisions. And I let her, I mean, she's doing a lot of it too. We talk about saving and what she wants to do, like on her list and what matters to her. And like we talk about purchases she's made before. And so she has her own buckets, her own little they're not earning interest unless it's mom interest. But she has buckets that she set up about how she wants to prioritize spending. So it's cool because I'm doing it and she's getting to do it too. And someday she'll choose. Like maybe it's not travel for her when she's in college. Maybe it's something else and she changes that bucket and that's fine. It's like a cool way to just um, earn money off of the money that you already have hanging out there.
Yeah, yeah. There's a cool book that we're going through. It's a Netflix documentary, Your Rich Life. And I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, you saw it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a book journal that we just got. And I'm like, this is just a fun date night to do. And you just like list out like, hey, what are the top 15, bucket list things? And you break it down. What are the top five that are most important to you? And then you just start to think through those. And it's like, okay, how much would this vacation cost if you wanted to do it like this? Or how much? So it's cool and that's awesome that you're instilling this kind of rich life buckets already from, as she's growing up.
Trying, trying.
Trying.
I
Hey,
think like I did it and I didn't for so long. Like I embarrassingly, I also felt like, oh, well, like I shouldn't, I had a per diem with this company that I traveled a ton for. I mean, I'm talking like 2010, 2011 maybe. And I felt bad about it. And so I wouldn't expense things. And I was like, why am I not like they are giving me set rules. As long as I'm behaving in these set rules, why do I feel like we got to get rid of the guilt and the shame and like submit your expenses, come up with systems, like play the Monopoly game. And the company knows that that's happening. Like they're not
it's a write-off for
oblivious
them.
to it. Right,
It's really
exactly.
a
Yeah.
tax write-off for them. So they're
Right. There's everyone wins.
yeah,
A rising tide lifts all boats. What are all the like weird things we could say there? But truly, like it's not as it feels like it should be illegal, but it's not.
I mean, yeah,
Get over that
I'm
part.
running a business about it, helping right people
Right.
maximize how to do it. It's just you have to understand how to do it, and just like you said, build out systems. You may not be trying to get 10 times, 15 times your points. Those are advanced strategies that I like to try to teach. But if even if you're getting 2 to 3, that's really good, and you're getting free trips pretty much. So I couldn't agree more. I know you spend a lot of time just from a consulting side, also with being a host of the show in some different masterminds, just on working with business owners. Any specific gaps that you haven't already covered, just around credit card points or expenses that sometimes you see them making those mistakes?
Man, I think just like allowing ourselves to, like I mentioned, like we can't be masters of all the things. Like just be okay that you are probably missing opportunity and decide if this is important to you. Prioritize like working with someone, prioritize calling Ross right now, or prioritize going to educate yourself about this. I found some of the points groups to be a little bit secretive, like any of the like online Facebook or whatever communities. Like some of the people don't want to share their tips because they're like we've opened the mentality to abundance and share, and like there's plenty of resources. So if it's educating yourself or like hiring someone to help you get this system put in place, I really like I think my biggest finds that when I'm talking to people about it is any of those recurring expenses. So like even if it's software, like if
Yeah.
you're using like a tax or accounting software, if you're using a CRM software, like whatever that is, can you put it on your credit card? Can you get points from it? Um, I also I have personal credit cards who they flip-flop the what you get rewards or what you get double points on. I have on my calendar quarterly check-ins for when that happens. And I write post-its for what each card is getting points on double. And I stick them on my actual card. So if I'm at the grocery store, I can see on my cards, this one is getting 3x on grocery. This
Mhm.
one is getting 2x on gas, and it's like I'm choosing the right card in the right situation. And it's not just like what's closest.
Yeah.
So like putting that on my calendar has been super helpful as a business owner. I think just equating like points to profit has
Mhm.
been really helpful for me and making it a little bit more like I have to gamify everything for myself to keep interest anyway.
Yeah. No, yeah, those are all good strategies. I love you're taking an advanced level strategy of reminding yourself quarterly. That's some things that a lot of people will do. And then like, oh, this is a new promo that's going on. Here's different things that are going on. We actually have, I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's called CardPointers, but it will tell you like, yeah, so CardPointers Pro, we're actually getting the CEO to come on when they do their new update later in September to walk through how to use that because, right, you're on the go, you're trying to think, okay, if
A
there's
lot.
a promo and there's another one that's so like that, there's Rakuten where you can get cash back, right? And then you can
Yep.
translate that into American Express membership rewards. So that's a great
Yep.
way. But then there's another one that just came out called SaveWise that there's just like different ways to stack those so like, hey, and they're creating tools where, like you said, you don't want to have to put a sticky note on your card that
Yes.
there, right? If you're going there and you're like, you know what, I'm going shopping, are there any elevated offers through Capital One, Chase, American Express? Like having Card Pointers Pro, you can literally pop that up. It'll tell you, hey, this is what you should be, here's an elevated offer. So that's a nice thing, and that's something that we're bringing more people on to share those things because those are the tools that simplify it versus having to try to figure it out and create those. I will share too,
So hard.
and the Points Mom, great name. She
Great
actually
name.
just did an episode and she talks through like strategies that she put in place for her kids when they were growing up, like, adding them as authorized users, building up their credit. Right now, they know she's like,
Smart.
they're set for life. They're coming out of college with the only cards they really need with all these points. And they also grew up seeing, like, hey, we used to go on vacations and all these were paid for. But the funny part is
So
she would
smart.
put those sticky notes on her husband's card and be like, you have to spend it on this one because he would always mess up. So,
Well, it's like also, I feel like there's so many hidden things. Like you have to click a button to activate this, and you have to, it's like it's a full-time job.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
to
for
stay on
sure.
top of it. So
And
having things that
yeah,
make it easier for us is like key.
and that's what, yeah, a lot of the people who are creating these apps or who have is they saw the challenge and they were like, let me create a solution, just like
Love it.
different softwares that sales reps are used to. So yeah, those are some things that we're excited to share more of because those are tips that and tools that I wish I knew about 10 plus years ago before having to try
Totally.
to
We'd
rank
be
them
having
all
a
together.
totally different conversation. Yes, totally agree.
Well,
Love
cool.
those brilliant minds.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Any cool places like just for your daughter, right? Are there any places that you've been that she's like, we're talking about this forever? Any specific places, right? Like that you guys have on the future horizon that you're excited to visit?
Oh yeah. I think I mean we just got back from New York. She's been dying to go to New York. It's been like number one on her list. It's so funny because we I didn't maybe it wasn't a thing. I don't know. She had her golden birthday. So she turned 9 on the 9th of July. And it's her golden birthday. We're doing it big. So I used points. And I think all in with taxes, flight and hotel was $80 and got the upgrades, got all the stuff. We went to New York, and I think like that's one that she'll talk about forever. It was really cool to see just her experience the things that she has been seeing through, whether it's like shows or research, or, New York's the backdrop to a lot of kids' movies and songs that she hears. So, like, her being able to experience these things that she's only created an image for in her head was like incredible. We did a Broadway show. Um, we did Central Park, we did late night food adventure. So like she said she's like, I don't think I've ever eaten standing up so many times in a row because there's like no chairs anywhere. She's just shocked by, standing and eating, which was funny. But on the top of her wish list, all of her vision boards, Paris and Hawaii are next for her. So I mean, she went from a couple states away to let's take a major flight.
Love it. I love it.
But my family, I'm from California, so we go back and forth quite a bit. So she's done some long haul flights. She hasn't done international, but she did just get her passport. So I do think that Paris might be our next one. I won't say for sure, but that might be our next big trip together.
That's an easy place to get to on points too, for not a
Right?
lot. That's
Right.
that's exciting. We might be going to Hawaii. We'll see. We have friends who are trying to plan their wedding and trying to decide on a destination. Hopefully they're listening to this and this gives them a little nudge so we can
Nudge.
plan, yeah, so we can plan next year's trips. But that's awesome. And I think it's cool just to see, like you said, you have those different little buckets that she's focused on, but then also you went to New York that she got to see through a different lens, and now that's elevated her to now want to go and try new things. And we've had a couple different guests who have come on where they've traveled for 15, 20 years with their kids, and they're just like it's just a different experience where the progression you see over so many years and just like you just get a different sense for different cultures and like being very happy with what you have here. So that's awesome. I applaud you for it, and I'm glad you were able to share some of those tips, not only on points and savings for salespeople, but also all the different hacks that you have as a parent. Because I think that's one question we get, and I got a 2.5-year-old dog who sleeps and eats, and we take him on 2 walks, and it's kind of simple.
Yeah,
So
he's good to go.
yeah,
I have like a list of I have like a mom bag. I'll send a list over for anyone who wants it too.
I love it. I love it. Well, Leslie, this is amazing. I really appreciate you coming on. So much value. Is there somewhere online that our listeners can find you?
I think the best place is LinkedIn, Leslie Douglas, and I kind of do a mix of everything there. So whether it's traveling, sales, mom life, all of the things. It's probably the best spot.
Yeah, I'll agree. That's what I was going to say. You'll learn a lot from her. I always enjoy the sales stuff. If you are a sales rep or even a business owner, you will learn so much just
Thank
from
you.
all the stuff that, again, we have a lot of decisions to make and you're the expert. So that's why you should go to them.
Thank you. We're just making it easy. Thank you for having me on. It was so good to catch up with you too. And I feel like I need to now dive in even more. Points game, next level, unactivated. Unactivated? No, activated.
Yeah, we have more and more good stuff coming. So we'll
I'm excited.
continue to share that. And listeners, if this is your first time, make sure you give us a follow or subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes. If you have any family or friends who like to travel, make sure you share this with them. That way we can help them travel more for nearly $0. And make sure you give us a 5-star review. If you think Leslie deserves it, I do. That helps us grow the show. And we will see you next week. Thanks so much.